t will be 2 all over a squared minus 1 all over c squared times d. We are supposed to write this entire fraction as a single fraction. Remember, they are just two separate ones. Let's write them as a single fraction. The first step will be to get the LCM. And the LCM of a squared and c squared times d will be a squared can divide a squared once. Now a squared cannot divide that. So we'll simply write here c squared times d. Then from here we'll simply write c squared can divide c squared times d how many times? D times. Remember, this c squared will cancel with this c squared. Finally, we'll have d can divide d once. So the LCM of a squared times c squared times d will be a squared times c squared times d. And that LCM will simply be a squared, c squared, and d. So we'll write this as a common denominator for all this. So the first step is already done, and that is to get the LCM. And the LCM is a squared times c squared times d. So when you divide this LCM by a squared, we'll simply remain with what now? With c squared times d. When you divide this LCM by a squared, it means this a squared will cancel with that a squared, and therefore you will be left with c squared times d. And that is why I've written it here. Remember, this you're supposed to multiply with the numerator, and that numerator is 2. Now, the next part is when you divide the LCM by this, when you divide LCM, which is a squared, c squared times d, by c squared times d, what will you be left with? You'll be left with a squared. So we'll simply take a squared up here, then you're supposed to multiply that by 1. So we have gone through the first part of the question. Advice, if there is any part you have not understood, kindly pause the video. Then you go through your work as you do this with me. Let us solve the numerator separately. I always do it this way so as to easily follow through whatever it is I have done. Remember, when I try to work it out as an entire block, there's an area I might have messed up and it will be very hard for me to notice. That is why when I split it into working out the numerator and the denominator separately, it's quite easy to understand your work. So the numerator, now 2 times c squared d will be 2 c squared d. Then we are supposed to multiply a squared times 1. Remember, this is negative a squared times 1 will be negative a squared. So we've already worked out the numerator. From here, we simply combine the numerator with the denominator. And the numerator, we found the answer to be 2c squared d minus a squared. Remember this, you're supposed to put the denominator as an entire denominator for all of them. So that will be a squared, c squared, and b. I hope you enjoyed this third tutorial. I'm going to do as many examples in this area as possible. Let me also know the areas you're having challenges in this section of how to express separate fractions of an algebraic expression into a single fraction. Bye.